Hey guys, Bryan here from Liquid Concepts. So today we're going to talk a little bit about films and of course trying to diagnose them, trying to figure out what all you need to do as far as soak time, activator, things like that. And so we've got a brand new film here that we're going to be using for a job, and I have never used it before, and so I kind of wanted to show you the quick little process that I like to do every single time I get a brand new film in, whether it's from us, from another company, anything like that, just to make sure that I get everything dialed in, so then that way whenever I go to dip the part the first time, I know exactly what I need to do, and I know it's hopefully going to come out right the first time instead of just hoping that it comes out and I did not test it first. So let's get started. So what we've got here is Realtree Extra. Now again, I have never used this exact particular film before, so we're just going to go through what I would normally do if I had any of these, whether it be Realtree, Mossy Oak, or any of the other films that are out there. I'm still pretty much going to do the same thing. And so first thing is we're just going to use maybe 6 to 8 inches of it just as testing. And so I've went ahead, I've put a piece of tape right through here, and I'm just going to cut everything off just like that. And so then all I'm going to be doing from here is I'm just going to be cutting down a couple of different squares. So pretty much now we have 4 different squares that we can pretty much test, and hopefully from 1 to maybe either 3 or 4 we can figure out where we need to be at with our soak time, with our activation, and with what time we need to actually be dipping. So first things first, we're going to take this and lay it in the water at the standard 1 minute and see what happens. So let's take this and get it in the water. All right, so we'll lay this down here just like this, and then of course start our timer. And so you can clearly see we've got 1 minute on the clock right here, counting down. So now that we've got 1 minute on the clock, we'll go ahead, we'll pull our dividers in. Maybe try to pull that in. We're not gonna make that, so that's fine. We'll drop it in right there and then let it sit, and of course let the film hydrate for 1 minute before we go to test it. Now testing is going to be pretty simple. A lot of you guys have seen my other videos, so we're just literally going to take a glove, just any glove will do, and all we are going to do is just go down in the water with it, pull it back out, and then read what's going on with the glove after it's dipped. 1 minute, we'll take and spray our normal amount of activator across it, and then take a look and see what we got. Now, a couple of things that I'm seeing very quickly is that it is not fully glassed out. So we can clearly see right in here, and even if we zoom in a little bit more in it, you can see that it does have a lot more like lines in it. And so if you look more downward into it, you can see it has a lot more lines. Now it did stretch out, but we're still not getting that exact way that we need it to look. And so again, we'll test this going down, and you can see that it is starting to wrinkle right in through here as we are going down into the water. So that's telling me a couple of different things. Number one, our activator may have been fairly well, but we're not getting that great of a stretch, and so it's still more acting like a piece of paper going down into the water. Now we of course did get a decent amount of stretch, but again, looking at it as we were going down into the water, it was starting to wrinkle as the fingertips hit, so that's going to be an indication that we do need a little bit more soak time. So in this case right here, we're going to go ahead, let's bump it up about 30 seconds. So I like to try to go in at least 15 to 30 second increments, so then that way I can see if those make that big of a difference from going from maybe 1 minute on the water to maybe even 1.5 minutes and then spraying the activator. So let's get our second piece and lay it down and see what happens. So we've got our second piece in here. Let's go ahead, lay it down in the water, and of course start our timer for the 1 minute 30. So that way we can see what happens with a little bit longer soak time. So again, we'll pull our dividers in and we'll let it sit again for the minute 30 and spray our activator. Now, With the activation, of course, we are doing it by hand, so therefore I'm trying to keep it as even as possible and as smooth as possible, so that way everything can stay as consistent as possible, because if I'm always spraying at a constant rate, I'm always spraying at a constant height, then the only thing that we're changing is the time on the water at this point. So let's see if we can keep a consistent spray and then maybe just up our soak time, so that way maybe it might have needed a little bit longer soak time, especially with the lines that I saw initially whenever we first activated it. All right, so looking at this now, looks like it definitely looks a lot better. We don't have a lot of the lines that we did, but I do feel like, just from experience, we might go ahead and bump it a little bit higher. Now again, we'll test the glove again. So we'll take this and go straight down in. Now, the one thing that I do like is I'm not seeing a lot of the wrinkles like what I was. So that is definitely promising. And also too, if you'll notice that this is actually stretching way better than what it was a little bit ago. Now, looking at this again, of course, we do have a lot of stretch. The colors are a lot less vibrant, but overall, I do feel like that the colors are starting to get a little bit better as we're going with a little bit longer soak time. So let's go ahead and let's bump it one more time up to the maybe 2-minute mark, and let's see what happens with that, just to see if we can maybe get it any better than what we already have currently right now. All right, let's try this again. Option number 3, going in with the 2-minute soak time. So again, 2 minutes on the water before we are activating the film. And just like before, we're going to contain the film, and then now our soak time is sitting at 2 minutes instead of what we had tried previously at the 1.5 and even 1 minute mark. All right, so we've got 2 minutes on the water. Take it and spray our activator again, and let's see what we have. Now, after seeing that activate, I do like that a lot better. It seemed to expand the way that we needed it. And of course, let's see if we get any wrinkles as we're going down into the water and we put our gloves in. So that is definitely looking a lot better. If you'll notice, we are actually not pulling in these sides here like what we did with the other films. We are actually getting more of a stretch, and you'll notice these sides are staying here and they're staying over there, compared to before they were not, and they were actually still pulling into the film itself. So really good stretch all the way through there. Inevitably, just like before, you take green, you stretch it, it's going to get lighter, but way less wrinkles, as well as, I would say, a really good pattern going all the way through. Now again, we do have some black in here that is getting a little bit distorted, so that is going to happen like that whenever you stretch it that far. But starting out, I would say that we have a pretty good pattern starting out. So in my opinion, for this one particular film, I feel like maybe a 2-minute soak time might be the ticket. Now, if we see that we might want to change our activator, we at least have our soak time standard, and then now we can adjust our activator whether we needed it more or less, depending on what way we feel from looking at, of course, the way that it dips. So once we've got everything dialed in, of course, now we can either go ahead and dip our part, or maybe even do a test dip. Of course, one of the speed shapes works really well because they're quick and easy, or if you wanted to go ahead and do the part, you can of course do that. One thing that I always like to do, especially on a film that maybe I'm not used to or I don't use a lot of, is I like to write down and make sure that way I know the next time that I use this, I know exactly where my settings need to be. So in this case right here, we will put in maybe 2 minute, and then normal spray, and that's going to be for my notes on knowing that whenever we go and we dip this pattern again, I need to be starting at a 2-minute soak time, and a normal spray pattern to get the results that I had before. Now, of course, if you are the type that maybe you do change some of your temperatures or anything like that, you can always put another one down just like this and put in exactly what temperature you were dipping at. So in our case, maybe it might be 83 degrees or 90 or whichever it is. You can put that on there just to make sure that you have everything as detailed as possible for the next time that you go to dip. So hopefully this video has really helped you guys out. Of course, if you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them below. We'd always love to hear from you, as well as if you have any other methods of testing film or you see another method that you think might be better, always love to hear from you on that. But hopefully this will give you a really good idea on where to start whenever you have a film that you have never used before, or maybe you're just trying to dial it in maybe a little bit better to get the best results for the activator and the process that you're using. So if you haven't already, definitely hit the subscribe button. We'd always love to have you subscribe to our weekly tips on anything hydrographics related, as well as if you like the video, definitely hit that like button. We'd always love to have that. It shows YouTube that you like the video and we can continue to pump out more of these videos just like that. If you're interested in getting into the hydrographics industry, definitely check out the website. It has everything that you need for the water transfer printing industry, from tanks to training to videos, and of course all of your paints, primers, films, activators, everything like that. It's all there on the website. We'll also have links in the description below, so that way you can go directly to those. I'm Bryan from Liquid Concepts, and this is how we customize your world. We'll see you guys next time.